Hi, and welcome to the NFL Fan Forum. My name is Art, aka the Sea Cow, and this is my sidekick John, aka the Cowlick.
What's up?
Thanks for joining us. Today, we will be discussing and grading the Denver Broncos and Seattle Seahawks free agent signings thus far for the 2021 offseason. But first, our play of the day.
Halfway! High lift! Oh, damn!
So far, at 2 weeks into the free agency period, there have been some exciting developments for both the Broncos and Seahawks, with some possibilities for future signings. We will keep you posted on this as we go along. First, let's discuss what has happened so far with the Broncos. Our first player we will be discussing is cornerback Ronald Darby from the Washington football team. Darby also played for the Philadelphia Eagles and was drafted in the second round by the Buffalo Bills in the 2015 draft. He has decent size at 5 feet 11, about 200 pounds, and ran a 4.38 40 time at the combine. During his career, he has a total of 306 tackles and 8 interceptions. So what do you think of this pickup for the Broncos?
I think it's actually a pretty good pickup because we need help at the corner position. We really do. Ever since we got rid of A.J. Bouye, all we had left was Bryce Callahan. Michael Ojemudia, he might be good in the future, but he was a rookie last year and he's still developing. So we'll give him time, but he's not great quite yet. Ronald Darby, he gives us that depth, and it looks like here that he's going to be a starter, but I'm pretty sure he's not going to be a starter. He's going to be there for depth in case Bryce Callahan gets injured, or if Bryce Callahan gets tired, then they put Ronald Darby in there. I think this is a pretty good pickup in my opinion, so that way we have depth at our corner position, and that way we don't have to worry about drafting a corner in the draft.
We knew General Manager George Paton and head coach Vic Fangio were going to be aggressive in the rebuild of this team. So what grade would you give this acquisition, and why?
Well, just because the Broncos need a cornerback desperately for a replacement for A.J. Bouye, I'm going to give this one an A-. He's not the best corner because he's getting older, but he still has stuff left in the tank, and he still has stuff to prove before he possibly retires, like in 2 to 3 years. So I'm looking forward to him playing with us, and as of right now, I'm giving it an A-.
Our next player of discussion is running back Mike Boone from the Minnesota Vikings. Boone was an undrafted free agent out of the University of Cincinnati in 2018. He averages 5.3 yards a carry for his career, which is actually really awesome, and 4 touchdowns. So what do you think of this pickup for the Broncos?
I honestly like this pickup. I think this is a big upgrade over Phillip Lindsay. I miss Phillip Lindsay a lot, especially when he runs in an explosive manner, and he's a hometown kid, and I really, really do miss him. I think that's why people miss him, because he's a hometown kid and he's very explosive. The thing is, he can't catch and he can't block very well when pass rushers are coming right at him. Mike Boone, however, can do that. He's 20 pounds heavier than Phillip Lindsay, and he can catch the ball. He used to play wide receiver in high school. That's how good he is at wide receiver. So I'm looking forward to this guy. So hopefully he'll be a solid backup, and you never know, maybe he may become the starter over Melvin Gordon.
George Paton must have really thought highly of him to bring him over from the Vikings for over $3 million. So what grade would you give for this acquisition?
For this one, I would honestly give it an A+, just because we need an improvement over Phillip Lindsay. I know Phillip Lindsay was a hometown kid and he is very explosive, but if you look at the highlights from Mike Boone, he's also very explosive, and he can block defenders and he can catch the ball. So that's a big upgrade over Phillip Lindsay, so I'm giving this an A+.
The next player we'll be discussing knows Vic Fangio and his system very well. Cornerback Kyle Fuller comes over from the Chicago Bears for 1 year and $9.5 million with $9 million guaranteed. He has amassed 390 tackles and 19 interceptions in his career thus far. So what do you think of this pickup?
I think this is an amazing pickup. Like, come on, Bears. You let go of your amazing corner, the best corner that you have. And he still has stuff left in the tank, and you let him go. So I find that very shocking, and I'm glad George Payton pounced on him, because holy moly, he is a heck of a steal. He's going to be a definite starter, and I hope that he can play at a very good level now that he's back in Vic Fangio's scheme. So I think Kyle Fuller is going to turn out to be a very great player for us, and hopefully he can lead us to the playoffs, if not the Super Bowl.
To keep pace with the high-flying Chiefs and Raiders, you definitely need lots of corners, that's for sure. So what grade would you give to this acquisition?
I'd give Kyle Fuller an A++, because this was such a good signing. I have no idea why on earth the Bears would ever let him go, but holy moly, we got a steal in Kyle Fuller. And he's only missed 2 games in his whole career. 94 out of 96 of his games. That's insane. So I hope he can stay healthy and play like an elite cornerback. So hopefully we'll be able to see him play amazing with Vic Fangio's scheme, and hopefully we'll be able to go to the playoffs because of his amazing ball skills.
The next player we will discuss is defensive tackle Shelby Harris, who is a returning player for the Broncos on a 3-year, $27 million deal. In his career, he has 168 tackles and 16.5 sacks, and he's known for his run-stuffing ability. So what is your opinion of this re-signing?
I think it's great bringing Shelby Harris back. Getting rid of Jarrell Casey, I'm going to miss him, honestly. But it's just that he's injury prone and he's getting older. Shelby Harris is younger and he has way much more left in the tank. And I have complete faith in him. So hopefully he'll be able to bat down more balls out of the air and continue being a sack machine that he is. So yeah, I really do hope that he continues to play at an elite level, and this contract was really worth it, and he seems happy about it.
Harris was actually seen crying at his press conference and says that this contract will not change the way he plays. So what grade would you give here?
I would give him an A, because I am pretty sure that he'll be able to play at an elite level like he did last year, keep batting down passes, and keep sacking quarterbacks, like I said before. And he has a lot of potential, and I really do have faith that he'll be able to remain a Bronco and stay a Bronco for the rest of his career, and hopefully retire as one too.
So let's go to the next player on our list, and that would be safety Justin Simmons. Simmons returns on a renewed 4-year, $61 million deal. He has 385 tackles and 16 interceptions in his career thus far. So what do you think of this signing the Broncos did?
I think it's a very, very great signing. He is now the highest paid safety in the NFL, and I think it was worth it. You can guarantee that he is going to have at least 2 interceptions every single year. I'm hoping he becomes a Hall of Famer with us and he stays with us for the rest of his career. But yeah, Justin Simmons is a very, very, very valuable player right now, and I'm glad we gave him that contract extension because, yeah, he's a very, very, very valuable player. Like I said, he's important on that defense, and hopefully Vic Fangio will make him an even better player.
With Justin Simmons now back under his great deal, the back end of the Broncos secondary really has some good pieces in it. So what would you grade Justin Simmons coming back?
A+, because Justin Simmons, like I said, is a very, very, very great safety. And he's important on that defense. If we didn't have Justin Simmons, who would be our number 1 safety? Nobody. Because Justin Simmons is that man. He is the guy that can sack the quarterback, block field goals, make tackles for losses, and break up passes. So yeah, he's very important, and he is most likely going to make at least 2 interceptions every year. So yeah, he's very, very, very important.
The last player we will be discussing for the Broncos is veteran safety Kareem Jackson. Kareem Jackson signed a 1-year, $5 million deal to remain in Denver. He has 719 tackles and 19 interceptions for his career. So what do you think of this signing?
I think it's a pretty good signing because Kareem Jackson is a hard-hitting safety. He does decent in coverage. He can hit people very hard, like I said. He might knock some people out then and there. But is he good in coverage? Sometimes. But that's just because he's getting older. Can he deflect passes? Yes, but very rarely because he's getting older, like I said. He barely has any interceptions now that he's getting older, but I still think Kareem Jackson has at least 1 year left in the tank before he retires, and hopefully, we can go to the Super Bowl with him and Justin Simmons together, so that way that they both have a Super Bowl under their belts. So hopefully, we'll go to the Super Bowl, and Kareem Jackson will be a big part of that.
Well, with Kareem Jackson back, usually he stuffs the line of scrimmage when he's in the box, so that's good. But do you see the no-fly zone being back now in Denver? And what kind of grade do you give this signing?
First of all, I'm going to rate this just an A-, just because Kareem Jackson is getting older. I feel like we might go safety in the draft. Hopefully we get somebody like a Richie Grant, because I really like him. He's a hard-hitting safety. Reminds me of a younger version of Kareem Jackson. I hope we can get him maybe in the second round. He looks promising. But I think the no-fly zone is actually back. Now that we have Kareem Jackson, Justin Simmons, Kyle Fuller, Bryce Callahan, or Ronald Darby, I think that's a very good secondary right there. I think we might have our no-fly zone back, and hopefully, teams will fear us, and hopefully we'll create a lot of turnovers just because of that, and hopefully a lot of defensive touchdowns too. Now let's move over to the Seattle Seahawks and their free agency signings. The Seahawks have had a very busy offseason and have lost a few players in the process. Some of the key losses include cornerback Shaquille Griffin, wide receiver David Moore, cornerback Quentin Dunbar, guard Mike Upati, who retired, tight end Greg Olsen, who also retired, and defensive lineman Jared Reed, who went to the Chiefs to join with former Seahawk Frank Clark. General Manager John Schneider began free agency with only $4 million in cap space. Let's see what magic he worked to get some help for this team. Coming off a 12-4 season and a division title, the Seahawks front office brought in some key acquisitions. The first player we will look at is defensive tackle Poona Ford. Ford was an undrafted free agent gem for the Seahawks out of the University of Texas. He had a good year for the Seahawks in 2020 with 25 solo tackles and 2 sacks from the one technique position. How does this signing help the team?
I think it helps the team a lot. Obviously, with Jaron Reed being let go because he was going to be too expensive, Poona Ford needed to stay on. He's been a very good undrafted free agent, as we talked about. He's a very, very unheralded player. He has a good motor. He reminds me a lot of Brandon Mebane. I really think he has that talent. A shorter, squat kind of guy, over 300 pounds. And he still disrupts the plays, and he's quick. I really think that he is a gem that was found by John Schneider, and he's worth the $4.4 million on the cap this year. I think this was a really good pickup. I think that we're moving more to a 5-man front, and he's going to be in the middle of it, and backed up by guys like Brian Monet, and maybe another acquisition we possibly might get. Who knows, but we'll see. But I think that him as the starter at the one technique in the middle is a very good piece to have on the defensive line.
So looking at this 2-year deal Poona signed, what grade would you give John Schneider here?
You know, I'm going to give him a really good grade for this. He's a fan favorite. He's an unsung hero. He's done so well for this defensive line and not asked for much money, obviously, but he's given a lot of effort, and he really has earned his 2-year deal here. And for him to be able to re-sign for 2 years, the first year $4.4 million on the cap, I think I'm going to give it an A-. That's what I think. John Schneider did a great job on this bit of order that he needed to do, and I think Poona Ford is an exceptional player, and I think he's just tapping into his talent now, And I think that we're going to see a lot of good things from Puna, and I give it an A-.
Now let's move on to our next free agent signing, cornerback Ahkello Witherspoon from the San Francisco 49ers. Witherspoon is a prototypical corner for head coach Pete Carroll at 6'3" and 195 pounds. He had 17 solo tackles and 1 interception last year in limited duty. So how will Witherspoon do here?
I think he can do very well. I think Pete Carroll is really excited with this signing. So is his former teammate, DJ Reed, who came over last year from the 49ers. They played together before that. Reed has definitely been hyping him up a lot, telling the team and the fans that, we got a really good player here. And there is a lot to be excited about. He has the great size. He has the capabilities. He's got the wingspan. The potential is all there. But the downside for him has been injuries, which he's had a lot of. He's missed like 17 games in the last 3 years, which is a lot. And he's also been prone to mental errors in some cases, and he's been burned before, and then he's been benched. So there are some things to worry about. So this is a hit and miss, bust, feast or famine type of thing. And I really think that if we can get a feast out of this from Pete Carroll and the coaches there, I think that this could be a big steal. He's only going to cost a small amount to the cap, like about $4 million, 2.5 guaranteed. And I really think that this could work out. But again, we did this with Quentin Dunbar as well, and he missed a lot of last season, and he never really helped us. So this could be the typical boom or bust type of situation. We'll see how it goes.
The Seahawks did need corner help for the upcoming season, and Witherspoon could be a starter. What grade would you give here?
I'm going to give him a grade of a B, but I do think there is a very good chance this could turn into an A+ type of situation. He has a lot of talent. He has a lot of size. He's had flashes of really doing well. And so if he can get more consistent, if Pete Carroll and the coaches can get him to be more consistent, have a little more fire under his butt to be able to play better and to his talent level, I think we could have a real steal here. The kid is only 26 years old, and he has a lot of talent. So there's a lot to like here. It's just a matter of getting him in the game, and his transition should be very good and very smooth, because coming from Robert Saleh's scheme, which is very similar to Pete Carroll, I think that this could be a very good steal. I like this acquisition, and I think I'm going to give it a B for now.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. Now let's move on to our next free agent pickup, tight end Gerald Everett from the rival Los Angeles Rams. Everett had a decent year in 2020 with 41 receptions, 417 yards, and a touchdown in split duty with Tyler Higbee. He has good speed and size at 6'3" and 240 pounds. So what is your take on Everett's signing?
I think this was a really good signing. Obviously, anytime you can weaken the Rams' offense, that's a good thing. And take potential weapons from Sean McVay, that's always good. But I'm really excited to see what this new Shane Waldron offense is going to show us. And I really like the idea of snatching a player like Gerald Everett to be able to have somebody who knows the scheme and be able to fit in right away and be able to help other teammates be able to learn the system faster. And I really think also he's got a lot of talent. He's going to be used in a lot of different ways in this system, and I'm excited to see what we can do with him. And he's still young, and he's starting to be able to be a breakout player. And last year was a decent showing of what he can do. We'll see how he does, but I'm really excited with this opportunity to have for him. And the team is going to be better because of it.
The Seahawk tight end room has Will Dissly and Colby Parkinson from last year. What grade would you give here?
I'm going to give a good grade here for Gerald Everett. I think just because we took him from the Rams and he had a decent year last year and he knows Waldron's system, I think this is an A grade. I really do. I think this guy is pivotal to transitioning this team to the offensive system. He's going to even help Russell Wilson probably and give him opportunities to know the system better. I think this is only a positive pickup, so I'm going to give it an A grade. The money is decent, about $7 million. It's about the same that we gave Greg Olsen last year, and we didn't get much from him, but he was older and ready to retire anyways. This is a much better pickup. I like this. He's a young guy and still coming into his own. I think he's got a lot of talent for this offense. And I really think he's got a lot of upside. I think this is going to really work out. And he's going to show Will Dissly and Colby Parkinson how to do a lot of the tight end work for the blocking schemes and also to be able to get an open in space. And with Russell Wilson's accuracy, I really think that he's going to have a good year this year. I think this is an A signing, and I'm excited to see the new offense.
So let's take a look at our next free agent signing, center Ethan Posick. Posick finally got his opportunity to be a starter last year by winning the starting job last offseason. He is 6'3" and 320 pounds. Do you think his re-signing was a wise decision?
I think it was a very wise decision. The centers that were available in this offseason were very few and far between. Rodney Hudson got snatched up real fast by the Cardinals. He was one that we were looking at. And Posick knows the system. He's actually got good size. He's just starting to come into his own. And he won a lot of blocking technique battles this season. He was not the greatest center, but he was fair to middling, and he can improve. But I think it was a safe decision, and I think that he can improve. So we'll see what happens. But I know Russell Wilson was looking for some stability in the interior of the line. He was very frustrated with how many hits he was taking and sacks and everything. But I really think that many of the sacks he took were also him holding the ball too long. And that's typical for him because he scrambles a lot. So I think he's got to take a little step back and understand that, you've got to get rid of the ball a little bit faster. And in Shane Waldron's system of the Rams, I really think that this is going to happen. I think he's going to get rid of the ball much faster. And he's going to find out that he's going to get hit less when he does that. And I think I'm excited for that fact alone. And I think that'll make Ethan Posick look better. And with his size and his strength, I think he'll do just fine. So that's what I think. I think it was a good decision to make.
So what grade would you give here?
I think I'm going to give this a B-. It's not the greatest signing in the world, but I think that a B- is about fair. He is a decent center, but I think he can grow a lot. So this grade could get much better. I think that it could become a B+ or an A- if he really, really takes off and just really becomes a nasty center, dealing with the guys like Aaron Donald and people like that. He's going to have to really develop a nasty streak in the interior of the line for me to think that his grade would be better than a B-. So that's what I'll give him. He's got another year coming up. This is a 1-year deal, and it's very fair. It's about $3 million, and we'll see what he can do. We may still, in the draft, look for a center, but I think for right now, he has a good chance of proving that he's worth a longer deal next year.
Moving along, we have another big signing. Starting running back, Chris Carson. Carson was injured for much of last year and was not sure if the Seahawks would re-sign him. He had 681 yards rushing and averaged almost 5 yards a carry. What do you think of this re-signing?
I think this is a really good choice to pick up Chris Carson's contract, give him some well-deserved money. He has been a major force and a very hard runner at the detriment of his body. He's had a lot of injuries in his last few years, but he has very much earned his contract this year, 3 years, and I think this was a big deal because he really runs hard. He really has a passion for the game. He's a great person to look up to for the young running backs. So I think this was a really good choice. I think he's going to really do well in Waldron's system. I think that the openings that this blocking scheme has with tight ends and even receivers, along with the offensive linemen, are going to allow him to have bigger runs, and I think he's going to take less punishment in this system than in the past. I just have a feeling about that, and that could help him obviously last longer and be more durable when it comes to the longer season. And in getting to the playoffs, he'll be more healthy. I think he's going to have a big breakout year this year, and the way he runs, I think he has all the upside in the world as long as he stays healthy, which I think in this system he will.
This should really solidify the running back position. So what grade would you give here?
I'm going to give this an A-. I think that Chris Carson has proven that he is a really strong running back. He deserves a nice opportunity to make his money. I think, again, in this system, he's going to do really well. And he's going to improve his pass catching skills, I think, as well. He's been doing decent. Last year, he had several touchdowns and good catching ability. So I think he can improve that as well. And him and Rashad Penny are going to fill out this running back room. I think he's going to have a bounce back year, Rashad Penny. So I think the sky's the limit on the running back group in this system. And I really think that Chris Carson is going to really take advantage. So I really like this re-signing, I should say. I really like the guy as well. Pete Carroll really was high on this guy when he was first drafted in the 7th round, even though he was injured at Oklahoma State the year before. But, yeah, I think this is a really good re-signing. He's at home. He likes it with Russell Wilson. He really likes the offense. And so, yeah, I like this re-signing.
Our next free agent we will be discussing is guard Gabe Jackson from the Las Vegas Raiders. Jackson was a starter with the Raiders and was the signing quarterback Russell Wilson was looking for to help with protection. At 6'3" and 335 pounds, he is the classic mauler who can take on any defensive tackle lined up against him. So what do you think of this signing?
I think this is a really good signing. We needed big-time help in the interior with Mike Iupati retiring. This guy is big, and he has proven it on the Raiders' offensive line, blocking for running back Josh Jacobs there. He's going to miss this guy, and I'm glad we have him. We signed with his 3-year deal, $22.75 million. It's a little spendy, but it's also back-legged, so most of it won't be front-loaded, so that's good. But, yeah, this guy's going to be a very helpful protecting guard for Russell Wilson, just what the doctor ordered for him. So he has no excuses. Russell Wilson has no excuses in this system. I think he can get rid of the ball faster, especially with good blockers up front of in taking care of him. And this guy can really get off the blocks and block for the running game. And so this is the guy that we really have big excitement for coming in. Sitting next to Dwayne Brown, this is going to be a good left side. I'm excited to see this, and I think it's going to be really good for the offense.
So what grade would you give here?
I'm going to give this an A grade. This is a really high grade for me, and I'm excited to see what he can do. He's got all the size you could ever want. And you can bet Pete Carroll's going to give him a lot of incentive and a lot of enthusiasm to be able to be great at his position. So I really think this is going to be a really awesome thing. This offense is really rounding into form. There's not many pieces that are really necessary right now. And I really think that Gabe Jackson is a huge part of this. And sitting next to Dwayne Brown, this is going to be a great left side. And I think that we're really looking at some really good running game plans coming up with offensive line coach Andy Dickerson and Mike Solari. I think these guys are going to be really excited to work with these great offensive linemen that can be wonderful. And I think Gabe Jackson's only going to be the piece that we needed. And so I think this is exciting. I think this is an A grade. We'll see what happens.
Moving back over to the defensive side of the ball, we have the re-signing of defensive end Benson Mayowa. Mayowa had 19 solo tackles and 6 sacks in limited duty for the Seahawks in 2020. At 6'3" and 265 pounds, he has good size and speed at the end position. So what do you make of this re-signing?
I think this is a really good re-signing. It's very cap-friendly. Maybe about $3 million on the cap, and so that's awesome. And I think it's really good because he had 6 sacks last year in rotational duty. I think that he's going to continue to be that rotational duty person. And with this new 5 defensive lineman setup, I think that he's going to come off one end, and I think it's going to be a good disrupting force. He's been very consistent, let's put it that way. He's had some really flashy moments where he's had really good games, but for most part he's been pretty consistent at getting pressure on the quarterback, which is really good. I'm excited to see this pass rush this year. He's one big piece of it. He's not that old. He's just going to be 30 in July, and he knows the system, and he also plays very hard. So yeah, I'm very excited about this signing.
So what grade should be given here?
Benson Mayowa is a fan favorite. He is a very consistent player, like we talked about. I think he's still one of those pieces that is really important. And if he has complementary defensive linemen around him, he's going to continue to be very consistent. I predict that he's going to have another 6 to 7 sack season, which is very consistent. And in this changed up system that's in a 5 defensive lineman type of workings, I think that he's going to do really well. And I think this grade is worthy of a B minus. He's not overly wonderful. He's not wonderfully gifted or anything, but he has good size. He's got a good motor. He just is a very consistent piece, a rotational piece. So I'm going to give him a B. I'd say a B, and I think that's worthy of his grade.
Continuing our discussion of the defensive line, let's move on to Kerry Hyder Jr., a former defensive lineman with the San Francisco 49ers. Hyder filled in admirably for an injured Nick Bosa with 30 solo tackles and 8.5 sacks. He is 6'2" and 275 pounds. What do you think of this pickup?
I think it's a really good pickup. I think this guy, he has the veteran presence to him. He's been in the league for about 6 years, and he had a real breakout year last year, and he hasn't been injured. It's just that he's been more of a rotational guy on several teams, especially the 49ers. And now that he's really starting to find himself and figure out what he really does best, I think he's starting to break out, even though he's a little bit older guy at 29. But he has a body that hasn't been beat up yet, and I don't think it will be either in this system, because there's going to be several guys on this defensive line that are going to really help him make him a better player, and he's going to make them a better player. I think this is going to be a very sack-happy defensive line going into this year, just like the middle of last year and the end of last year when we led the league the last 8 games of the year. I'm really excited for this defensive line. Hyder is a guy who's going to be plugged in to the 3 technique and the 5 technique spot, and I think he can really make some noise down there with some good defensive ends around him, and Poona Ford in the center spot, the nose tackle spot, I should say. And yeah, I'm excited to see this piece come together with the rest of the guys. So this is a very good signing. I like it.
I have to agree. I think this will be an exciting line to watch for the Seahawks fans. Not to mention weakening another division rival in the process. So what grade would you give here?
I'm going to give this a B+. I think this is a very good pickup. This guy has a lot of potential. He showed it last year. A good rotational piece. We've got a lot of defensive linemen. And I think sticking him a little bit more on the inside at the 3 technique and 5 technique, I think that's really a good spot for him, and let the ends do their work as well. He's got a lot of niftiness and speed. He's injury free, and he's not going to cost a whole lot for the team, which is really great. So I think this was a nice pickup. I think that he's a B+ for me, and I can't wait to see what this line can do. I'm excited.
And now, last but not least, our final free agent we will be discussing is arguably the biggest signing this offseason. Edge rusher Carlos Dunlap. Dunlap was signed over from the Bengals mid-season last year and produced 6 sacks. What do you think of this re-signing?
I think it's a very big deal that we get Dunlap back. I was very, very excited to see that he came back. When we let him go at first, not knowing what they were thinking, I thought this was a big mistake, and therefore I was thinking our pass rush was going to suffer for this coming year. But now that I've seen that the game was played and John Schneider came through and we got him for less money and we've still added more pieces, I think this has been a big-time signing, and it's a very important signing. And I find it interesting that even though Jaron Reed left for the Chiefs, it's amazing that this coming year, these 3 players, Dunlap, Hyder, and Mayowa, are going to cost as much as Reed would have cost us this year. And that is a big, giant plus sign and thumbs up to John Schneider and his ability to be able to work the cap, even though it's less than it was last year. This is a coup, and I'm very excited to see this whole defensive line go through an offseason together and learn a system that is very beneficial to all of their talents, and I'm excited to watch them. This was a great signing. We needed this type of person to stay. His experience is unquestionable, and his ability to stay healthy is also so important. And I think it was a big deal.
So what do you think of this signing?
What grade should I give? Well, I think I should give it an A. I'm going to give it an A. This was that important. His ability to get to the pass rusher and yet hold the edge against sweep plays and scrambling quarterbacks was evident last year. We saw that against Kyler Murray and others. This was a big deal. His smarts and his gameplay are too important to have let go and not have brought back. And for the ability to get him back for the amount, which is half as much as he was supposed to get paid, that is a coup and a steal. And for a guy who has 87 or 88 sacks in his career, that is just a big acquisition. His ability to be able to do anything you ask him to do and be successful at it is just that valuable. And so, yes, I'm going to give him a grade of an A because he is just that great of a player, a borderline Hall of Fame player. So that'll do it for our show today about the free agent signings for the Broncos and the Seahawks. Tell us what you think in the comments section below. Be sure to destroy that like button and subscribe to our channel. And by the way, don't forget to turn on that notification bell so that you'll be notified when we post a new video. This has been Art
And John.
signing off.